Good evening. So I've decided to start a new segment on this channel called My Favorite Albums. And this is going to be a video series where I pretty much gush and fangirl out about all of my favorite albums. There's a lot of them. Really just get into the music and talk about it, the stuff that inspires me. These reviews, if you can call them that, are probably going to all be really positive. There might be a song here or there on an otherwise great album that I don't care for too much, but for the most part it's just going to be me talking about music that I really like. I do intend to bring guests on and my fellow band members as often as possible to get more of a conversation vibe going, but for this first one it's just going to be me pretty much going on a rant about this album that I feel very strongly about. Someday we'll do a review for Amaranth album Kayleen once they make a good one. Kidding. Here we go. For my first favorite album review, I'm going to pick one that I didn't get into until quite recently. This is Stormcrow by Cain's Offering. I discovered this band just listening on my Spotify power metal playlist that Spotify generates. And the song Antemortem came on. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I pretty much just forgot what I was doing and sat there like an idiot until it was over. There's a lot of power metal bands out there, I feel like, that only have like one or two really good songs, so I'd be lying if I said I immediately got into this band as soon as I heard their first work, because I didn't. I just kind of assumed that, this was the best they had. And that might actually be true for this song, but we'll get more into that later. This is just my, personal observation. I'm no expert. I don't claim to be. But the thing about power metal that really irks me is this very punishing use of double bass drums, just non-stop with these long power chords going over it for like everything. I mean, I really wish power metal bands would try harder to break it up more, to put more variety in. Another irksome level, but less irksome, whenever orchestra or symphony is used, it's just used to fill out the chords more and not, very rarely does it get its own lead or its own melody to play. So with those being my, two big problems with a lot of power metal, with that in mind, this is why I think Stormcrow is maybe the best power metal album I've ever heard. If you haven't heard it, you should go listen right now. There's always something interesting going on throughout every part of every song, and just get 4 minutes into the first track and you'll be sold. So to continue my story of how I started listening to this album, the track The Best of Times came up in my Spotify playlist eventually too. I started listening to that, another great song. I actually went and looked up the lyrics for this one. Spoiler alert, this song's not actually about the best of times. It's an emotional gut punch. So after that, I gave the entire album a listen, and very happy I did. I only hope I can make something that sounds anywhere near as good as this someday. The album is 57.5 minutes of awesome, released May 2015, and if you're wondering how a no-name band, at least I'd never heard of them before, came out swinging so hard with this album, well, first, it's their second album, but second, they're a Finnish supergroup. They were formed with members from Sonata Arctica, Winter Sun, and Stradivarius. I didn't figure this out until after a couple listens to the album, and suddenly it was just like, oh, yeah, this all makes sense now. So I should probably start talking about the songs already. Look, it's a continuity error. If you're wondering why I keep looking down in between shots, it's because I took like 6 pages of notes to make sure that I had content to talk about for this first video. The first 12 seconds of the first song, Stormcrow, really set the tone and tell you what you're in for. Admittedly, this first one is very heavy double bass for the first 4 minutes or so, but there's so much symphony going on in the choruses, I forgive that. And despite all the non-stop double bass, they still are able to capture a lot of dynamics. It's not just, levels constantly about to peak the whole way through. And then at about 3 minutes and 30 seconds or so, they introduce this new theme and play with that for a little bit, and that's when I really knew I needed to listen to the rest of the album. Then at 4 minutes, you see them really start to use a lot of restraint, sounds really awesome, and they keep it softer for like an entire minute on their opening track before bringing back up the intensity again. I think this is a great song. The lyrics are very poetic sounding, although I don't know that they're that deep. But me personally, I'm all in it for music, by which I mean like actual notes and instrument choices and stuff like that, not so much lyrical content. On to the next track, The Best of Times. When I actually learned what this track was about, I literally started crying. I love all the violin-y leads, the very fun solo, and the band, specifically in this song, but in a lot of their songs, they use a lot of tricks and swells and stuff to slam you into different sections of the song that's like, like build the excitement and the hype to each part. They're really good at doing this. The next song, Night to Forget, this one, after Two Face Melters, is a little slower, but super catchy, even in the softer verses. There's kind of got this like ghostly lead thing bouncing over it that's really haunting and really cool. The whole song is kind of a non-stop build towards the chorus. And while the solo isn't super technical and super awesome, I think it actually fits the song like really perfectly. Again, the whole thing seems to be them using a lot more restraint, but it just really fits despite being pretty simple. Track 4, I Will Build You a Rome. I don't have too much to say here. This one sounds a lot more happy in general. It's quite a bit faster than the previous track, and it kind of seems like it took like a power ballad, the lyrics from one of those, and then slapped them onto a more power metal tune. Not that I've got a problem with that. It's, another solid entry. Track 5, Too Tired to Run. This might be the best ballad out of all ballads, maybe ever. It's right up there with Roman Sky and Nancy the Tavern Wench. The song's actually, it almost has some progressive elements in that you never hear the same part twice the same way. It's just constantly building towards the end of it. The last part with all the symphony going on is so incredible, and then when the bells come in, it's really, really magical. It adds in, more choir, and it just sounds so massive. You start to feel like you're ascending before it finally fades out. And then, not really a critique, but I wish they would have, played the last little bit of it longer, because they had this really cool little piano and acoustic guitar part, and it fades out, but I was still on board. I still wanted to hear more. It sounds like this song, looking at the lyrics, is about a guy who had things go south with his lady, and I'm just sitting here like, if this guy's able to produce this quality of music, she should give him a second chance, because we're getting a taste of what it's like to be in heaven with this song. Track 6, Constellation of Tears, back to face melt mode, done with the ballad. I really love the chorus in this one. I love the part that follows the chorus too. That part's I almost look forward to that part more. It's something that I need to start focusing on when I'm writing music too, is the part that comes directly after, because this band is so good at just constantly building, like I've been saying. And then about 3 minutes in on this one, you suddenly just get, double bass and the guitar's just chugging. And it's just just those instruments for the first time, I think, that you really just hear that without any singing or any orchestra or any other parts going on. It makes you feel like you're moving really fast before, once again, it crushes you into a new section. Yeah, really fun instruments, and the key change at the end, again, really magical. Track 7, Antemortem. As I was saying at the beginning of this video, this might be the best song. The orchestra at the beginning sucked my soul into it. I love everything about this song. Pick any part, I don't even know what to focus on. There's so many instruments, there's so many textures, there's so much dynamic, from soft to super epic. The bridge before the last chorus, it's just all amazing. And then the extended last chorus. Sometimes it's overbearing. Sometimes it's so good. Track 8, My Heart Beats for No One. This one has a really cool strumming, texture, chord pattern under the chorus that you kind of have to listen for a little bit. That makes it pretty interesting. It does suffer a bit from following the previous track, but it still stands up on its own really well. Again, another post-chorus bit that's really cool. Again, I need to focus on that more. Track 9, I Am Legion. This one's a really cool progressive-y, orchestral, symphonic-y instrumental track, by which I mean there's no lyrics on it. You know, this song really takes you from point A to point B. You're kind of going on a journey. Every theme is really interesting in its own way, and you know, it's just presented to you as you kind of move through it. You know, at this point, it kind of goes without saying, there's never a rough transition anywhere. That's something the band's really good at. About the only thing I can think of, I guess, would be way back on track 3. The ending of that song just seems like it kind of ended abruptly, but that's really all I can think of as far as transitions or, I guess, start and end points that felt kind of weird. Track 10, Rising Sun. This one's it's a fine track. I don't have much to comment on it though. Track 11, On the Shore. You know, this one's kind of the casual groove out. It's kind of an awesome last track because you're just kind of pulsing with it until the album ends. Again, they do a fade out. Again, I wish they would have extended it longer because I really liked what they were doing right at the end. You know, still on board, still praying the album would keep going. Really groovy, not super face melty, but I think it's a really fitting end for this like masterpiece of an album. So now for my rating. So it's pretty biased, and obviously I love this album, and all these videos are probably going to be about albums that I rate very highly. Just my feelings at the time the video is recorded. With that in mind, A+. Oh, but you said Rising Sun was just My answer to that is you still get 10 songs of some of the greatest power metal ever written. For crying out loud, just shove it and enjoy the gift that is this album. I hope you enjoyed this rant. Please like and sub for future channel notifications. I'll be doing more videos like this. We also are doing miscellaneous, music and band stuff on the channel. And once a month for the entire year of 2018, we're going to try to release an original song. And we'd love to get feedback on these, especially on our first song, Break, which we already have uploaded to the channel. You can go listen to it right now. Even if, your comments are hateful, go ahead and let us know. It's no skin off our backs. No skin off my back, I'll still accept you. I think. We'll see how it goes. Man, what am I getting myself into? This is worse than the time I told my brother I'd make him a website.